Direct News TV. June 23, 2023. Ukraine war updates. Wagner chief accuses Russian army of attack. Russia's FSB opens criminal case against Wagner chief, TASS. Russia's FSB security service has opened a criminal case against mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin for calling for armed mutiny, Russia's state-owned TASS news agency has said, citing the National Anti-Terrorism Committee. President Vladimir Putin has been briefed on the developments and necessary measures are being taken, Interfax news agency said, citing Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov. Wagner chief, this is a march for justice. The founder of Russia's Wagner mercenary force, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has said that his call to action against the Russian military was not a military coup but rather a march for justice. This is not a military coup, Prigozhin said in a series of audio recordings posted on Telegram. It is a march for justice. Our actions do not in any way interfere with troops. Prigozhin also accused Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu of ordering 2,000 bodies of Wagner fighters be hidden in a morgue in southern Russia. Wagner chief, there are 25,000 of us, urges Russians to join. The chief of mercenary group Wagner said he had 25,000 troops under his command and urged others to join to resist Moscow's military brass. There are 25,000 of us and we are going to look into why there's total lawlessness in the country, Yevgeny Prigozhin said in an audio message, urging Russians to join his forces. Wagner chief pledges to stop Russian military leadership. The chief of mercenary group Wagner has pledged to stop Moscow's top military leadership and called on Russians not to resist his forces. The Council of Commanders of PMC Wagner has made a decision. The evil that the military leadership of the country brings must be stopped, Yevgeny Prigozhin said in an audio message released by his spokespeople, urging Russians to remain calm. Moscow strikes kill huge number of Wagner forces, chief. The chief of Russian mercenary group Wagner has accused Moscow's military leadership of ordering attacks on their camps and killing a huge number of forces. We were ready to make concessions to the defense ministry, surrender our weapons, Yevgeny Prigozhin said in a furious audio message released by his spokespeople. Today, seeing that we have not been broken, they conducted missile strikes at our rear camps. The Defense Ministry quickly issued a statement saying Prigozhin's accusations do not correspond to reality and are an informational provocation. White House monitoring Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant situation. The White House has that it has not detected elevated levels of radioactivity at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, but that it is monitoring the situation closely. Ukraine warns against panic after alleged nuclear threat. Kyiv has urged Ukrainians not to panic or stockpile iodine tablets after Zelensky alleged that Russia planned to organize a radiation leak at an occupied nuclear plant. Zelensky said this week that Russian forces controlling Zaporizhzhia, Europe's biggest nuclear plant, were planning a terror attack by orchestrating a radiation leak. The Kremlin said it was a lie, but the president's warning put many Ukrainians on alert and sent demand for iodine at many pharmacies skyrocketing. Read and share but don't panic. Don't play the enemy's game. President Zelensky said nothing new, the Ukrainian Health Ministry said late on Thursday. Russia is a terrorist country from which, like a monkey with a grenade, you can expect anything. EU fund that bankrolls Ukraine arms to get €3.5 billion boost. European Union foreign ministers will approve a boost of €3.5 billion, $3.81 billion, to a military aid fund used to bankroll weapons and ammunition for Ukraine, officials have said. The ministers are expected to raise the financial ceiling on the European Peace Facility, EPF, a fund that has already allocated some €5.6 billion in military aid for Ukraine, at a meeting in Luxembourg on Monday. However, Hungary continues to block the allocation of another €500 million tranche of the fund for Ukraine, according to officials. Budapest has said it will not lift its block until Kyiv removes Hungarian bank OTP from a list of companies it deems international sponsors of Russia's war in Ukraine. Hungary has branded the bank's inclusion scandalous. On Monday, a decision will be taken to top up the European peace facility by €3.5 billion, said a senior EU official, speaking on condition of anonymity. But there will be no decision on a new tranche of the European peace facility for Ukraine because there is not yet agreement among member states on that. Zelensky orders audit of heads of military draft offices. Zelensky has ordered the creation of a commission to carry out an audit of heads of military draft offices in regions across Ukraine. After meeting his top military commanders, Zelensky said the commission would be headed by General Alexander Pavlyuk, who is first deputy defense minister. The decision follows Ukrainian media reports of corruption allegations against the head of a draft office. Zelensky said he had ordered the urgent dismissal of the head of a draft office whose family was reported by the Ukrainska Pravda media outlet to own property and cars in Spain worth millions of dollars. I gave an urgent order to create a commission, and together with law enforcement units and the National Agency for Corruption Prevention to check all the heads of military draft offices in all regions of Ukraine so that they do not disgrace our state and the memory of heroes who die at the front, Zelensky said on the Telegram messaging app. Wagner Group chief slams Russia's reasoning for the war. Yevgeny Prigozhin, leader of the Wagner mercenary group, says the official Kremlin version of why Russia invaded Ukraine was based on lies concocted by the army's top generals. For months, Prigozhin has been accusing Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Russia's top general, Valery Gerasimov, of incompetence, but this was the first time he rejected Russia's core justifications for invading Ukraine. The Defense Ministry is trying to deceive society and the president and tell us a story about how there was crazy aggression from Ukraine and that they were planning to attack us with the whole of NATO, Prigozhin said in a video clip released on Telegram by his press service. The special operation was started for different reasons, he said. The war was needed, so that Shoigu could become a marshal, so that he could get a second Hero of Russia medal. The war wasn't needed to demilitarize or denazify Ukraine. Ukraine expects clear signal about NATO future, Minister. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov says he expects Kyiv to receive a clear signal and formula to become a NATO member when the alliance meets next month. I expect them to give us a clear, understandable signal and formula for us, obviously, to become a NATO member, Reznikov was quoted as saying by Ukraine's military press center. The NATO summit is set to take place on July 11th to 12th in Lithuania. Zelensky has repeatedly pushed for Ukraine to join the alliance but has said he understands it will be difficult while the war rages on. Ukraine's NATO allies remain divided about how fast Kyiv should join, as some Western governments are wary of any move that might take the alliance closer to war with Russia. U.S. sanctions 2 Russian intelligence officers over interference. The U.S. sanctions 2 Russian intelligence officers who attempted to interfere in a local election, the Department of Treasury said. Yegor Sergeyevich Popov and Alexei Borisovich Sukhodolov, both members of Russia's Federal Security Service, have worked to undermine democratic processes through a network of co-conspirators, the department said in a statement. The United States will not tolerate threats to our democracy, and today's action builds on the whole-of-government approach to protect our system of representative government, Treasury official Brian Nelson said. The department added that both men worked with Alexander Viktorovich Ionov, a Russian the U.S. Department of Justice charged last year for conducting a multi-year effort to use political groups in Florida, Georgia and California to interfere in elections. The department did not say what election the 2 men were accused of interfering in. Zelensky, there will be leadership changes following audit. Zelensky says there will be personnel changes following an inquest into the state of Ukraine's bomb shelters. There will be personnel decisions, Zelensky said in a statement, without saying who the changes would affect. Following the deaths of 3 people after a bomb shelter refused to open, Zelensky opened an investigation. Zelensky, officials will be brought to justice after bomb shelter audit. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the country's top security body decided to bring officials to justice over the deaths of 3 people who were locked out of a bomb shelter on June 1. A quarter of bomb shelters in Ukraine and a third in Kiev are unfit for use, Zelensky said on Telegram, citing an audit of air raid shelters. The decision of the National Security Council is to bring the guilty to justice, and to get all protective structures in the proper condition. Zelensky did not provide further details on who might be punished for the faulty shelters. Russia urges IAEA to ensure Ukraine does not shell nuclear plant. Moscow has urged the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, to ensure Ukraine does not shell the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in southern Ukraine. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.